Hey, what is up guys? So I got an excellent video today for some of you guys that are either interested in Fluffals, maybe you don't like Pendulum decks, so this could be an option for you, or some of the cards in the new Azneyes Pendulum deck are just a little bit too expensive for you. You can definitely try out this deck and have a lot of fun with it. Now, I've done a video on the Frightfuls or Fluffals just OTKing like crazy, and this is a good example of how the game can kind of grind out. And this build over here is like an anti-meta-ish build. We'll get into a deck profile after this, but I thought it was really cool to just main deck Spell Shattering Arrow. I wish it destroyed it all face up, but it's as many face up spell cards your opponent controls. Because if you can proc it off of Toy Vendor, that'd be even better. It'd make this deck so much better if you could happen to destroy that. But there's another card in here which we'll get into that can actually let you get rid of Toy Vendor. So this is like I would say it's an anti-pendulum version of Fluffals. But you can see he tried to negate the effect of the Tiger. Tiger coming out again anyways. But excellent grind game over here. So we see Spell Shattering Arrow activated. And what's good with this, not only do you get rid of your opponent's scales, but you get to inflict 1,000 damage to them. Especially if they activate like an instant fusion, or maybe they pay with Trick Clown or something like that. They can get pretty low on life points. And usually these decks play upstarts because they want consistency. So you can definitely try to run over them. You can either OTK them relatively quick in this deck. But like I said, this is an excellent example of how the deck can kind of just play. And you can definitely utilize the ability to just keep on adding a lot of free advantage with some of the cards. But the Frightful Tiger, I think, is a really strong card against most Pendulum decks because getting rid of scales is obviously good. He goes for the Toy Vendor play, excellent play, going to be able to search out extra cards in Frightful Fusion. And then he goes ahead, brings out the Saber Tiger. Saber Tiger brings out the Frightful Tiger. Pretty good stuff. So he's finally able to run over that Azneyes Vortex Dragon. Like the other guy made a bunch of stuff. This guy's made a bunch of stuff. I felt like it was a really good duel over here. But I'm going to go ahead and Pendulum for more cards once again. Then he's got the effect of the Oath Dragon. Then he's going to go ahead and go for a rank 7. I thought it might have been better to go for maybe like Big Eye over here, because I believe you can steal this card. What is this? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can take that card. It gains 400 all Frightful, so it would include itself. But nonetheless, he goes ahead and makes this card because he can bring back the Vortex Dragon, which is actually a pretty good play over here. But look at that Frightful Sheep over here with 2,900 attack, and you see the upstart over there. But like this Pendulum guy, he still keeps on going, man. He's still trying to keep himself in the game. He's going to go ahead and finally attack over that Owl, I guess, and he's going to go ahead and bring out Absolute Dragon. With Absolute Dragon, you can negate your opponent's attacks as well as your own, so it's pretty advantageous. But this card is just going to crash into it and then bring itself back, so relatively strong. Very, very awesome deck, Mr. Kenson Simon. Very cool to see some Fluffals over here. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile, because I know some of you guys do indeed want it. So this is his build. I would consider this build more of an anti-pendulum version of the deck. Again, because once we get into the cards, we'll get into it. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, 3 copies of Fluffal Stratos, 3 copies of Edge Imp Chain, 3 Fluffal Bear, 2 Edge Imp Sabres, 3 King of the Swamp, 2 Fluffal Owl, 2 Fluffal Sheep, 2 Fluffal Cat, 1 Fluffal Rabbit, 2 Fluffal Wing, 1 Performapal Trump Witch. There's technically 1 Pendulum in here, but you're basically just using it for that fusion effect. And then we have 2 copies of Frightful Fusion. We have 2 Polys, 1 Hand Destruction just to speed up the deck. Then we have Double Cyclone, 2 copies of that. So you get to select 1 spell trap card you control and 1 spell trap card your opponent controls, and you destroy both of them. So that is already kind of anti-pendulum. Plus, you're going to be able to proc your Toy Vendor. Spell Shattering Arrow, super anti-pendulum, and then they take extra damage. Then he's got 1 Frightful Factory, 3 Toy Vendor, 2 Fusion Reserve, and 1 Solemn Warning. I like the interesting choice of actually trying out Sheep, Cat, and Rabbit. A lot of people don't really like this card, but I like this build because it seemed like this one was able to have a more of a grind game, because a lot of times when you see the Fluffals or Frightfuls, they just try to OTK. And again, if you guys want to check out that video, I got a video where we just watched them OTK over and over against a lot of different decks. But as far as extra deck, we got the Frightful Chimera, 3 copies of Frightful Saber Tiger, 1 Frightful Leo, 1 Frightful Bear, 1 Frightful Wolf, 3 Frightful Tiger, 3 Frightful Sheep, 1 107, and 1 number 23 Lancelot, Dark Knight of the Underworld. You don't make these cards too often, but you know, there are right times for the right scenario where you just got to make these specific cards, and you're like, oh man, if I just had this crazy card in my deck, or you know, extra deck, you'd have access to something crazy, because you never know what happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes people creature swap, they give you some odd levels or something like that, but nonetheless, pretty cool stuff. So thanks a lot for sending in the replay. I love it. But if you guys have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. But I think Fluffals are a great deck that are, can be anti-Pendulum mechanic, because Pendulums don't really run too much back row, and if you can just go ahead and summon a card that can attack a bunch of times, and on top of that, if you're popping a bunch of cards before you go for it, it can be pretty advantageous, and you can OTK relatively quick. But anyways, like I said, guys, if you guys really want to see some crazy OTKs and how to set up the combos, I'll put a link down below in the description box, and I'll leave an annotation up if you guys want to click on that. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Been your boy Will Smith, signing out.